Okay. Thanks, Saradipa. Welcome to the live session. So
Thank
I
you.
think thanks for agreeing to do this. So over to you. I think I'll probably let you do a quick round of introduction, and then
Sure.
you can take it
So
forward.
my name is Saradipa Ghosh. I'm currently pursuing MBA HRM from ISWBM Kolkata. I have done my graduation in BBA. Then I gave CAT and come into this line. And now I have interned with Practice Academy and Win and Power for 2 months as my SIP project. And this is my topic of presentation today.
Sure.
So, how to communicate with staff or employees who are continuously performing low in an organization? So, these are my contents. A bit brief about who are low performers, what causes low performance, and what's the process of talking to a low performer, and things to consider while approaching a low performer, and what kind of question that can be asked by a HR or a manager while you are approaching a low performer, and how low performance can be improved. A little bit about that, and then conclusion.
Right. So
So,
in between, sorry to cut you. I think what I was
ah,
thinking is, if I could add a little few lines on why we picked up this topic and how this evolved. So I think I remember we having the conversation around communication. You selecting communication to
ah,
do research around communication in human resources, and as a result, we were discussing in terms of which part of communication, because communication
hmm,
itself is a very broad area, right?
it's a very
And then we took the use case of performance. I believe you had some preference towards performance management and some
ah,
of those
I did.
areas. And I think, if I remember correctly, that's how the conversation evolved. So we said, okay, why don't we pick up a difficult area, which is sometimes overlooked in terms of communication? We generally
Hmm.
talk about employee-wide communication. So this is a very small use case within the HR domain, very specific use case of performance, underperformance, low performance. So back to you, Shoradika.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, Afida.
Yeah.
So, who is a low performer? Basically, low performers are who tend to resist to change and stick to do whatever they were hired to do. And but it can be minimized by job description that explicitly states expectation of development from the organization, growth, and additional changes and flexibility.
Right.
So, what are the causes of low performance? So, basically, these are the things that I have pointed out. It may be lack of knowledge or awareness. One of the main reason is of low performance is lack of knowledge and awareness, and it mainly faced by the people who are new to the position. But education and training may solve this. Education may be needed to explain the steps to perform a job efficiently, and you can clearly communicate with the employee about your job expectation from the employee, and you can educate them about their role and responsibilities, and you can let them learn how to strategize their work. Then there is lack of skill or ability. Skill is something, a proficiency that is learned, and ability is physical or intellectual or emotional capability of an employee. These two together can make an employee perform better, and sometimes people lack in this. But I think developing your skill will help you a lot in performing better.
Cool. Right.
Lack of resources basically mean it can be lack of money, lack of knowledge, lack of equipment, lack of people or suppliers, and this can make you perform really low. Then there is obstacles. Obstacles are like many kind of obstacles be there. Technological barrier can be there, and people might feel individually there are some kind of personal obstacles. This may lead to low performance. Then there is health problem. People face health problem which make them perform low. And there are personal issues like nowadays personal issues like that issues that you are facing from your family, or it can be health challenges too, relationship problems. But
Right.
personal issues cause stress and the inability to focus on your task, and it is not the person does not want to perform well, it's the situation that make them do that.
True.
So I think but most of the time it's temporary, personal issues are temporary and can be solved.
Right. Right.
So maybe I have missed one point that could have been given there, that is lack of motivation. uh,
Mm-hmm.
Lack of motivation can make you perform really really low, and if
Mm-hmm.
a person's tasks are not challenging enough for him or her, or
Mm-hmm.
there is extremely high expectation from the company's end, or lack of effective leadership, it can lead to
Mm-hmm.
lack of motivation, which will ultimately lead you to perform really low.
Performing low. True. Yeah.
So these are the step when you are approaching a poor performer, how to approach them. You should first create a clear matrix of job performance, how the person did.
Mm-hmm.
Have a right mindset. You should know what you are going to tell your employee. Collect 360-degree feedback from other members of the company, his peers and subordinates, so you can know where exactly they are lacking. Have a
Mm-hmm.
one-to-one meeting, so that a employee can really open up in front of you. You can use Johari window matrix, that open self and blind self, that is the Johari window. And you should ask question and understand what is and listen what your employee is trying to say you.
Right.
And then you should collaborate, and you should come together and fix the problem, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
set clear expectation for the future. Once the problem is solved and you have talked about it, you should tell the employee that you were expecting this from that person, and they should do it accordingly. And now things that to be considered while you are approaching a low performer.
Mm-hmm.
First one is, don't delay. You shouldn't delay while having this kind of conversation. It only make the situation worse. Employee just
Yep.
don't feel the need of improving their performance if they are not addressed properly.
Right.
So the conversation should be raised within time. Then avoid chit chat. People often try to break the ice at the beginning of a difficult conversation. Treat the person respectfully, but don't engage in small talk. Acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
serious issue and after casual chit chat may be very difficult to come to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is document in writing. You should always prepare two sets of documents before meeting with your employee. The first is talking points about yourself that you are gonna make, and the second is document for the employee.
Mm-hmm.
Consider and you should consider giving the memo to your employee and let him know that these are the points, that this is where they are lacking, and so they can get some time to prepare.
Right.
Avoid focusing on intent. You should not hurt a people by any people by your words. You can be very angry at your employee for their low performance, but you need to focus on improving their performance rather than just slamming the employee.
Correct.
And there is listen. Listen what the employee is trying to say, and you can understand the problem more carefully if
Mm-hmm.
you listen to that person. Then
Right.
there is clarify expectation. You should be specific about what you are expecting from them, and what do you think they are lacking. This may help you identify the problem easily. You can come to a
True.
solution then accordingly.
Right.
So question that can be asked to the employees by an HR. If a employee is performing low, these are the question as an HR you can ask, like, are you feeling disengaged? And as an HR, we need to look on employee engagement. So this can be a question. What's bothering you? Can the company help you in any way? Or are you comfortable in your working environment? Are you comfortable with your peers? Or counseling is a major part now, so you can ask them if they need any counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the questions that can be asked to the employees by a manager. A manager is not a HR manager, as in supervisor. So what can they ask their employee? Do you need any change in your project, or do you need any help to complete your project, or any
Right.
special training is needed or not, or if they are not feeling comfortable with their team and they need to change the team.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the few points how low performance can be improved. Be specific with facts in hand. You just need to tell the employee this is where they are lacking and this is what they should improve. And staying specific to the facts, I think, will improve the performance very easily.
Correct.
Consider the needs of your employees. You should know why your employee is performing low, and what more they need to perform better in your organization.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Focus on feedback. You should always get the feedback from the employee, and the employee also should get some feedback from his peers and other group, so that they can make their performance better. Offer rewards and recognition. Sometimes people feel demotivated and perform low due to no recognition or rewards. If they are not getting hiked and they are not getting any promotion, they might perform low. So you should consider this point. And provide performance support technology, like you can give them training. You can now there are many kind of PMS tools that help you know how well you are performing.
Correct.
So, and this is the conclusion. So low performance is a real life problem nowadays, and most of the time organization don't really put much effort in talking to poor performers. Performance is not just about only targeting the achieving the set target. Employees should know how to effectively do a work and make their career better, and that have an impact on the project they are doing or anything they are doing. And that is why having a strong performance management system in any organization is highly necessary.
Right.
So that's all from my side. Thank you.
That was great. So as part of your research, I think this was a great job, and
Thank you.
I think so. So let me bring up one question. So you mentioned about, so we saw the questions that you had listed, right? Something
Yeah.
that managers can ask, or the supervisor
Mm-hmm.
can ask, and something that HRs can ask. But is it okay if those questions are sometimes interchanged, right? Because the manager can also play the role of a people person, right? Anyways, every
Yeah.
manager has to play the
Mm-hmm.
role of a people person, or some part of
Yeah.
something that HR does. So do you think it's okay if some questions are already asked by the manager, some of them were asked by the supervisor or HR interchangeably? What is your thought on that?
Yeah, basically, any employee in organization will be more connected to his supervisor or manager than he or she is to his or her HR.
Correct.
So, if the manager and the employee share a really good bond, and the low performance is not happening because of the manager or in any fault of on his end, then
Mhm.
the manager can ask this kind of questions.
Right, right. Awesome. Completely agree.
Hmm.
Uh, so that leads me to a follow-up question saying, do you think so in a scenario now let's think like an HR, right? So in a scenario of the entire performance tracking piece where these conversations are happening, do you think all the conversations ideally should happen in the presence of the manager? Specifically, the manager. Do you think that should be encouraged or that's recommended? Is there anything that
As
you
I
can?
have told you before, it basically depends on why the employee is performing low.
Mhm,
Sometimes there are bullying and harassment from the manager's end, and that might affect the employee, and that's why they can perform low. This
mhm,
kind of questions, I think, can be asked by HR only. And sometimes, if you have a really rude or very bossy kind of manager,
mhm.
uh, then you can't tell anything to them. You
Right.
just can't open up in front of them.
Mhm.
And shouldn't always happen in presence of the manager. The employee won't be able to open up that easily in front of his manager in these cases. So I think
Right.
they should be asked this kind of question separately, or
Right.
in some cases there can be counseling done.
Right. Right. Awesome. And one last question, I think. Do you think
So
communication always works? What do you think?
yeah. So we say communication is the key. This is what we keep saying. But there are some instances where I don't think communication can work.
Mhm,
Like if an employee is not happy with the work he is doing, or he or she doesn't like the project he is in,
mhm,
then no matter how much but when they're not being able to express in front of the organization, just to
mhm,
they
mhm.
might lose the job, or they
Right.
might be blacklisted. So in that case, no matter how much you communicate with them, yeah, if they can't solve the problem in their mind, they won't be able to, even after having several communications with manager and HRs, they won't be able to perform better.
Right.
And in organization, you can see some people who are like really naive. No matter how much you try to talk to them, they're not gonna, change themselves or perform better. They will just agree when you are having a conversation with them that I'll do this, I'll do that, but ultimately they won't do anything. So I think so in such kind of cases, communication might not work. But I would like to conclude it works most of the time, but there are always exceptions.
Exceptions. Completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Good. So I think thanks for that, Sharadipa. So this was a good short research presentation. I think the plan is also to put this up on the Growatpace site.
Okay.
So anyone who wants to work on this area more or in a
Hmm.
deeper element, they can do that. So we'll publish this as a white paper, research paper, right? At least as a starter. Good. Thanks for your time. I think
Thank you all.
really appreciate, and it was nice working with you on this.
Yeah, I'm really lucky to have a mentor like you. You have supported me a lot, and you have just told me everything what to do and what to not. Thanks a lot for your guide.
Thank you. Thank you.